Hello, it's Enchantress Shane, and this is like the pre-day before tomorrow where we start the challenge and the official actions. So this video is to help prepare you logically and also get your whole mind and body ready for the next 7 days that, if you allow, can actually change your love life. That's a really big deal. Now, what I want to share is if you are a goddess that has been doing tons of work on yourself, and it's almost like you've done so much that you're like, nothing can help me. I want you to poo-poo that, as my grandmother would say, and really open up to hope and possibility that everything is always different. There is never a possibility of you doing the same thing or having the same thing ever again. Even patterns that seem like the same thing are always different because you're different. It's a different time. It's a different place. There's no way it could be done the same. So I want to invite us to start with a meditation. And for some reason, I have bubbles nearby. And so I'm into our cauldron of what we're going to do into this meditation. I invite play, which is always a key element. I invite in magic with my magic wand. I invite in masculine energy. Whoa. And I invite in feminine energy of love. This is a rose quartz, and the reason I love it so much is it's rough around the edges, but smooth on top, just like us. Rough and smooth, all in one. And the last thing I want to put in our cauldron here is a little bit of play and joy. Yay! So to get ready for this, you can use this whole thing as a meditation. You can use this as a place to sit and take notes, or you can use it while you're driving or in transit and just listen and trust that you're going to get what you're supposed to get. So uncross your legs, feel your feet on the floor, or let your body come to a complete relaxed state. And start to take deep breaths into your belly, into your womb space. And if you haven't done that before, bring your hands to your belly. Inhale, breathe your belly out, and exhale, feel it go down. And the purpose of this meditation is to relax and sink into hope and possibility that your love life, regardless if it includes somebody else or not, is right now opening up for you to call in more love, more attraction, more health, more well-being, more care, more ease, and more gratitude. And so continuing your breath, letting your shoulders drop, giving a little massage to that space between your eyebrows, to all my sensitive thinking women. Swallow a couple of times. And then imagine vitality coming from the inside of your heart, spreading up towards your crown chakra, and also opening up your heart and spilling down, down, down into your root chakra right below your tailbone. And allow yourself to be laying or sitting inside of a hug, whatever that means to you, however you like to be hugged. Is it a big bear hug or gentle caressing? Taking this moment to slow down not only your body, but your thoughts. And imagine a gold, honey-colored substance surrounding your body, energizing you from the inside out. And allow this to be a moving meditation of sorts. So just allowing your hands to start gently touching each other. Activating your heart in this way. This is actually a tip and a tool you can use in life. Wherever you are, maybe you're on a date or just in public, but just allowing one hand to touch the other hand alone and slow. And then you can gently open your eyes and you can keep your hands gently caressing your body, just allowing niceness, softness to happen. Not the kind of touch where you're like, okay, I'm washing my face, blah, 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 but just like really gentle, loving care. So, fuck your love fears. If you already saw the email that says, that has so many different acronyms for fear, the one that I like the best is fuck everything and run. When you get that signal in your mind, whether you're in a relationship quandary or yourself and you just want to run away, you want to make it easy, why can't this be easier? That is a great example of fuck everything and run. And that's a red flag to say, wait a minute, let me slow down. Is this real? Is there another possibility? Is there hope? Is there something that might be different if I took a moment to center myself? So I'm going to give you some science stuff that I think is really important. There are 6 sexy chemicals of love. 6 chemicals, actual chemicals in the body that are what we need for love. And the first one is dopamine. No need to memorize this, but just so you know, it's a real thing. This is simply when you have chemistry with someone. When you see someone and you're like, I want that, or I want her, I want him, something like that, where you feel nervous, scared, electrified, your belly starts to have butterflies. Dopamine is actually released in your body. And dopamine loves action. Something has to happen. I want to see this person. And so just to know, it helps me when witnessing, when noticing like, oh, something is happening. You can actually now know like, oh, there's dopamine being released in my body, which helps a judgment form, which is like, I shouldn't be doing this. I like this. I don't like this. This is good. This is bad. He's the same, this, whatever story. Okay. So dopamine is our friend, and it's something extremely powerful to look at it and feel it and allow it. The second one is serotonin. It's the feeling when you just feel great. You know, it could be after a workout, or after a great date, or during a great date when you want to go text your best friend from the bathroom. That feeling of like, anything is possible. This is amazing. And I want you to be aware of when you feel that all along this process we have together, all along this challenge. When you just feel like, holy shit, I feel different. And I want you to document those moments. You can come and share them in the Awkward Enchanted Coven or share them with a friend, because it's so important to highlight these moments and not just let them go. And the reason to do that is when you share the good feelings, you get more of them. So don't ignore even the tiniest bits of feelings that feel amazing. Let them come and be like, this is it. This is what Shane was talking about. Okay. Number 3 is testosterone. Testosterone is the thing that like fires you up before or during a performance, a burlesque class, when somebody asks you a question and you feel really on point. All women actually have bits of testosterone in our bodies. And you can actually notice when you have more testosterone, you're more apt to like get things done, production, fierceness in that way. So it's helpful. If you have any kind of imbalance in your body, hormone imbalance, you might notice that you get extra hairs in different places, like the chin or nipples. It's totally okay. Most of us are a little bit fucked up in this area because there's all this high speed energy that we're trying to manage and pull through our systems. So it's okay. It's normal. The next one is estrogen. So we all have estrogen, and sometimes during different times of the month, it's more intense than other times, and it's kind of like a hot commodity for women, right? So when you have a lot of estrogen, it's like that super feminine energy. When you feel really beautiful, like right now, I feel really beautiful. I don't know if it's the red lipstick or what. I also taught a burlesque class today, so I'm feeling really empowered watching women open up and flourish. So when you have a lot of estrogen in your body, or just like the right amounts, you can notice like the flowers, and you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I kind of look beautiful. Not to say that if you don't have those feelings, you don't have estrogen, but it's the kind of thing that when it's in your body, you have rosier cheeks, you notice your eyes are clear, stuff like that. Like it's actually a physical presence on your body. When you see somebody glowing, it's because they have more, because estrogen is flowing through their bodies. Okay, the fifth one is oxytocin. Everybody loves oxytocin because it's the feeling of togetherness, like love. It brings out like, oh, I love community. I want to be with people. I want to share my stories. I want to listen to my stories. Yeah, it's like when we're in a sisterhood circle and it feels so good and it just feels like this is the way I want to live. Then you are releasing oxytocin. You'll notice like a lot of new mothers, a lot of women who have just given birth, who have something beautiful going on in their lives, like a bride, all of these things. Yeah, I think going on a great date or having a great workout or going to the spa and then getting out and looking at yourself being like, holy shit, my skin looks like a baby's skin. These are all the chemicals that we release in our bodies that equal love. And the last one is new to me, so I had to write down some. It's called vasopressin. And it's totally in relation to oxytocin. And the idea of it is it doesn't get along with testosterone. It sort of has this inner battle, inner war. And it's similar to oxytocin because they do a really good job of kicking off your primal instincts. Like, somewhere around your moon cycle, all of a sudden you're like, I don't know, I just want to be in a committed relationship. I want to have babies. It's that maternal instinct that kicks in that might not be like that any other time of the month. So when there's testosterone happening and it's like, and meanwhile your vasopressin chemical is like, I just want to be in love. It can feel like a civil war inside your body. Okay. So putting the science to the side for a moment, I want you to realize that in this very moment, when you receive information, it takes you up in your head. So as you're watching or listening to this video, there is actual energy transmission happening. I'm taking you from in your body to in your head and now back into your body. So give yourself a couple of breaths and I want you to lean back. So if you're sitting or if you're laying down already, see if you can really enjoy what it's like to be you right now. And my question to you is, what is it like to be you right now? What is it like to be you right now? And this is an answer that you can give to yourself out loud, or you can just check in. So bringing your attention back to the body, starting from your feet. What is it like to be you right now? Which is a really sexy question that you can ask others. But right now, focusing on yourself. Does your body feel light, heavy? Are you holding your gut in? Are you holding your belly in? Is your heart calm? Are your shoulders tense or relaxed? And take a moment to really sense in what it's like to be you right now. And once you realized, it might be a really funny question, what is it like to be you right now? Because it is full of a physical answer, emotionally, mentally, sexually, and psychologically, which might be the same as mentally, but what is it like to be you right now is a really in-depth question that has a lot of layers. But it's a really quick way to get into your body, to ask yourself, what is it like to be me right now? Or have somebody else ask you that. Or, of course, you can ask that on a date or of your partner and see what happens. And the truth is, they might think you're a freak first, but then it actually brings you closer together. And that's why I love the awkwardness. Like sometimes it takes some awkwardness to get clearer and get more connected. So I'm going to show you two charts. We're going to use them in this program, in this challenge. And the first one is an ego chart. And why I show this to you is fear is a habit. Fear has a cycle, and it's based on the ego. So I don't want to get too much into the ego. I assume you're all smart. You know how that works. So when you start up here, you have a situation or a memory that happens. So it could be seeing someone or revisiting a place where you had a special moment with someone and then you get all freaked out. It could be hearing a special song and it fucks you up. It could be that person reaching out to you or you seeing a friend of theirs, anything like that, situation or memory. And this next stuff happens so quickly. You get a story, a perception in your mind from that situation. The next step is your habitual stuff comes up. Anxiety, worry, anger, and then you get a physical reaction. For me, sometimes it's like my heart gets super cold and then spreads out from my chest, or I get a little dizzy and my stomach starts to tense up. And then right from there, unfortunately, it goes into the coping mechanism from the fear-based coping. So when you're in your ego and you don't realize what's happening and fear takes over, you go right into your coping. And coping can be anything addiction-wise. So it's like overeating, drinking, staying, like extra sleep, anywhere where you get lost or don't feel like you could stop. So it's impulsive behavior, which of course provides temporary relief, which reinforces that addiction, and then that's the full cycle. So the cycle is based on fear. So fear, these are all signs that fear is in play. Now, we all have all of these, but when you know that it's taking over more time than not, then it's a fear. And this is especially for those of you who are like, I don't really know my fears. Here's a great way of figuring out your fears. So if you're constantly worried or obsessed about a certain thing, it's attached to a fear. And we're going to look underneath, but your job is to look underneath and see, like, when did the situation or memory take place to trigger something? Like, when did the obsession and the worry get triggered? If you're always super busy and like you can't complete projects, or you just feel overwhelmed, but you don't actually know what you're doing. And you just feel like you're always busy moving things around from one room to the other, doing tasks, errands, cleaning, and you're exhausted, but you don't really know what you were doing. You're just busy. There's a fear there. Any addictions that I just mentioned, it could be eating, overeating, drinking, oversleeping, spending money where you don't really need to, talking bad about yourself. Fear itself is an addiction. Wherever we get energy, it might be not good energy, but if it's just running the show, anywhere where you feel rigid, where you're like, nope, that person is wrong, I have to do it my way, that kind of thing. That feels really harsh and like not flexible. There's a fear there. This one's a really big one of mine, fantasy and infatuation, especially with men that I deem as like super cool or whatever. The idea of when I meet them the first time, I'm super cool, everything is great. And then as soon as we part ways, my infatuation starts. And then all these expectations of myself, of him start to form. And that ongoing record of what if this, fantasy, 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 and even thinking about telling him the fantasy, creating more fantasy, like that whole web that happens in the mind. Anybody relate to that? There's fears there. The next is control, being super controlling. If you're already in a partnership, really working what you want from this person, what you don't want from this person, like the control part of you that is sort of afraid of the unknown. So you're constantly controlling things, or at least you think you are. The next one we all have, but this is like exorbitant amounts of stress, where you just like wake up stressed, you spend the day stressed, you go to bed stressed, your nightmares, you have like problem solving nightmares, like you have that kind of stress. There's a fear there that's being ignored. And the last one on this chart is avoidance. There's conversations you're avoiding, there's people you're avoiding, there's situations and topics that you're ignoring, and you're just avoiding shit. You're not dating at all. You're just counting yourself out of the game. You're saying you're too fat, too ugly, too skinny, too hairy, too much baggage. Avoiding. There are women and men in their 50s and 60s who are falling in love for the first time. It's possible. Okay, so we're going to go over these charts a little bit when we have our live sessions, but I want to give this to you now because it's really dense. So this is the fear chart that ego is running the show. It's the cycle where you just stay in your addictive pattern, ongoing, ongoing. Now I want to clear the air. And show you what it's like to be in a cycle of the true self. Now, a lot of it is similar, but there's one major place where it's not similar. And I'll show you, I don't know if you can notice where that is already. Same thing, starts out with a situation or a memory, goes right automatically into the habitual fear response. Nausea, story, creating something that's not true. Maybe your body feels it. But pump your brakes. The next thing is awareness. When you become aware this is happening and you say, oh shit, here's a fear. It's happening right now. Instead of going into the cycle of physical reaction, coping mechanism, you go into acknowledgement and witnessing. And then your thoughts are more centered. You can be like, oh shit, what should I do? Maybe I shouldn't go have an extra slice of pizza, or maybe I shouldn't go shopping right now, or I shouldn't go eating or talking gossip. Like that's where the habit would have jumped in. That's the habitual reaction. But instead, you then realize you have choices and freedom, and you can take a healthy action, and the cycle is complete this way. So I want to tell you a story. When I was creating these charts, I thought, okay, creating these charts. I'm out in public at a party, and at the time there was a man that I had a super crush on. And I had shared that with my friend, And we both agreed that he was really sexy, and we let it go. But that day when I saw him, it was a couple of months later, I saw her go up to him and give him a hug, which is not unusual. But for some reason, it triggered me. And I was like, oh, they are in a relationship and they didn't tell me, and everybody's making fun of me. Like, that was the immediate thought and story. Right? So the situation happens, the memory of some kind formulated, the fear response happened. But I was like, oh shit, I'm in the middle of making these charts. Let me see if I can be aware. And I swear I hadn't made this chart yet. And I was like, oh, what's happening in my body? And I felt this cold blast in my heart. And then I felt it trickle out to the side, then go down my body. And I was like, ugh. And I was like, I'm having a fear right now. And I think I actually said it out loud, which then made me realize, like, oh, I can just ask my friends, which I did. And it was a little uncomfortable, but more better than pretending to be cool, ignoring it, starting this cycle of, walking close to them or whatever nonsense I could have done. That would have been the habitual fear response, which is prove it. Go prove something to me, or go prove that I can do whatever I need to do to make this okay. Instead, I took my calm thoughts take over, and then I acknowledged, witnessed myself. I made the freedom-based choice to go speak to my friends, which was the healthy action, and then it was done and complete. So it's like these two charts, the ego chart, you'll get a copy of this too, really is so habitual from when you were little. And this one is the grown-up goddess in you. It's not the version of you that's like worried that you're too much, not enough, freaking out. And the truth is, your 16-year-old that lives inside your body, your early childhood, all those pieces of you are still very much alive. My 16-year-old self has so many expectations of men. It's so intense that I can understand why it would be annoying. But here's the big but. It doesn't mean she has to go away. It just means she just has to know what she needs. So the other day, it was New Year's, and I was expecting, not expecting. Like, I didn't make it a big deal. I didn't ask for it. I didn't even really care until I cared. I wanted a text on New Year's Eve that said, Happy fucking New Year. And I didn't get it. And it was a man that we had been on 3 dates. It was nice. We'd made out. And I thought, like, he's traveling. It would be really nice to get like a Happy New Year. So the next morning I woke up extremely stressed. I had nightmares with him in it and just really sad. And I felt rejected and forgotten about and all this stuff. And all those pieces of us that are just like yucky feeling, like rejection, feeling alone, isolated, feeling like a fool, like everybody's in on this secret except you. Everybody thinks you're a fool. Like, oh, look, she still likes him. Oh, she doesn't even know he's doing all these other things. And just giving yourself permission to be desperate, to be lonely, to feel your longing. So the next morning, I allowed that in. I allowed in feeling longing, desperate, clingy, needy. Ugh. Did I reach out to him? No. That is not the time to reach out to a loved one or a dating one, is when you're still in this huff. That is what your sister goddesses are for. That is what your sister friends are for. Because they don't know how to help that situation. And it's okay to get angry at your man, but he's not going to fix it. And that part of you that feels desperate, longing, that is the part of you that is young and needs some safety and some grounding first. Okay? Because anytime you reach out in that moment, you're not going to be satisfied. And it's going to amplify all the desperation, the longing, the sadness. So I cleaned it up. I cleaned it out. I cried. I spoke to friends. I did a bunch of tools using spring cleaning, or I just like I used stream of consciousness about what it is, why, what did I feel like? And it shot back my memory of all these times when I was young and feeling rejected. And then around 6 or 7 o'clock, I checked in with him and I said, hey, checking in. Happy New Year. How's your day going? He wrote back, and I didn't even care if he wrote back. It was the fact that my adult self took over and was able to do the outreach, not because I was needy, but because I was like, this fucking human being, what happened? So in the morning, if I would have reached out, I was reaching out like, where'd you go? What's your problem? You're supposed to write to me. And that is not the place. So then at 6, 7 o'clock, my 16-year-old self felt totally satiated. She felt really happy. She did arts and crafts in the day. She went for a walk on the beach. I went for a walk on the beach. I had dinner with a friend. And it was like, oh, my adult self is back. I can now ask and answer a question via text without feeling like. So I did that. And when he wrote back, I didn't even care because it was more about what I needed to do for myself than for him. Okay. The other piece of news I want to tell you is you as a woman are the attractor. You are the magnet. Men just respond. You are the magnet. You are the energy. They just respond. So later on this week, we're going to talk about flirting, the different styles of flirting, and how you can have chemistry with anyone. Move my little charts. And the fact that you can have chemistry with anyone is super cool because knowing that means you can have anyone you want to date. Anyone. I know you're saying, no, I can't. Yes, you can. There are blocks that you have. We all have them. But I wouldn't even say they're blocks as much they are hurdles. So you can go around them. You can go under them. You can jump over them. Hurdles are meant to be moved, discovered, and get the fuck out of the way. Blocks are harder. So I want you to take the word blocks out of your vocabulary and really use the term hurdle. My brain's a little farty. Okay, so we are huntresses. That is our job in world, right? Whether we're looking for a hot bargain, a sale, a marriage, a date, the high-end shoes, but on eBay, we are huntresses. That's what we're doing. And it gets a bad rap only when combined with masculine energy. Right? So when it's masculine energy, think about like a bow and arrow, like bing. When it's feminine energy, it's more like ah. So bing, ah. So the idea of you being a huntress with feminine energy means you're feeling your emotions. You're allowing what is. You're making yourself available, and you can surrender and relax into that. You don't have to go up to anybody. You don't have to get a phone number. You don't have to make a date, initiate a plan. It's really to make yourself available. And maybe it's just saying like, I'm available to that man. Could be a smile. But the idea is men respond. If that's the only thing you get from this, men respond. So when you're putting energy out there and you're available, that's when you can tell, this is what I want, and send your energy to that person. Now, the cool thing is, it's fun. So if you feel the need to like push or you get infatuated, know that that's the memory or situation that is getting you into that fear-based cycle. And you can tell when your heart seizes or your body freezes up or something happens and it doesn't feel good. Men respond, women attract. Okay? Get that in. Massage that into your head. And actually, since this is a class and your mind is using a lot of energy, Give your head a massage. Oh, that's so good. Let's get back into the body. Take a breath. Give your hair, all your 40, 50,000 nerve endings on your head. Oh, that feels so good. And then rub your hands together. And bring one hand to your head and one hand to your pussy. Put a gentle smile on your face. Slightly part your lips. Relax your belly. And see if you can flow love into your body. Maybe one hand needs to move to your heart and one to your belly. Closing your eyes. Maybe parting your lips just a little bit. And breathing into the softness and the slowness of what it is to be feminine. And I don't know about you, but as I did that, I just softened, like, ah. So be in that for a moment. How is that? How are you? All right, goddesses, enchantresses, coming towards the finish line here. Right now, I want you to take a guess and ask your body, what chemical was just released in my body? And see if you get an answer. We're also going to work with intuition this week and really tap into attracting and going to the right places so that you can attract love. Now, this program, this challenge, is not about attracting a man or woman per se, but just to get a kick out of yourself and to sense into your energy. Let's see what happens, right? So let's just see what happens. There's no pushing or cajoling or manipulating anything. It is total permission to just see what happens, to stay curious, to stay awake and alert and like, what if I tried these things? What would actually happen? Okay. So the last piece I'm going to talk about, and then we're also going to work with this a lot during the week, is vulnerability. We all want love. It is actually a human, not even just a desire, but a need. We all need love. And to have the confidence to admit, I'm human and I desire love, is so powerful. And when mixed in with inner child and little girl innocence, it might feel needy or desperate or weird. But as an adult, vulnerability actually brings you closer. But it feels crazy in your body. It feels like you're going to die. I was dating this man for a year. Actually, I'll tell you, yes, my client had the same experience I did. So I shared this with her, this story, that I was dating this man for a year. I was doing a lot of self-development work. I was like super goddess, but in connection with a man, I was completely lost. And so I had conjured this situation where this man's mother was dying. So of course there was no room or time or space for me. And I made this, situation come to fruition. Not on purpose, so to speak. So at one point, he hadn't called me back. I was feeling crazy. I was trying to be cool and not share this information. And then we got on the phone and I said, do you have any room in your heart for me? And it was like a space beyond crying. My spine was shaking. I was like freezing cold all of a sudden, and it just felt horrible. And I couldn't help it, and I started crying. And this was on the phone. I felt terrible. And then he said to me, I feel really calm and so grateful that you're sharing this. And I wonder how long you've been holding it in. And I said, I think forever. So as, we have this armor, this shield around us that goes from like, I'm cool, to I'm in love, I can't live without this person. And there's space in between that is really where the adulting happens. So admitting that you're wrong, you're worried, you're needy, you're scared, you're afraid might trigger that 16-year-old that lives inside you that's like, don't be a fucking loser. But if we don't share those sides, we end up hurting ourselves with food, with any of the things that are fear-based, right? So if all of a sudden we are not telling the person the truth, then we go into one of these things, right? So if you're in a relationship, if you're in a partnership, if you are not speaking the truth, if you're just like pacifying or rationalizing, you're going into fear. Fear of rejection is the biggest one. Fear of being not enough, but for us, it's fear of being too much. So that's why the embodiment piece is so crucial. Because if you're just coming from, what am I going to say? When am I going to say it? When's the perfect moment? You're finished. That's the masculine. To use your whole body is actually masculine and feminine. To be embodied and to trust that I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Oh my goodness. That is real. And I'm going to give you tools how to do that this week. So it's always a risk to be in love, right? To say to yourself, fuck, I have to open my heart and maybe this person's going to throw it away. But the fear of not being accepted or being judged or rejected or saying something stupid, the more you see those things, the more you realize, oh my God, that is such a young version of me. But the adult in you that has like sexual self-expression, that wears fishnet in the middle of the day, that puts on red lipstick on a Monday afternoon, it's the part of you that wants to take a risk, because there's only so much holding back you can do until something in you acts out and a fear erupts. And either addiction forms, or you get stressed, avoidant, worried, you're controlling, fantasy, rigid, or you're super busy. So the idea that play, curiosity, and vulnerability are so tied in to children. That's how children are. When I was in my master's program, I was really learning about children with special needs, and, you know, bringing that information over to dating is so powerful because we all have a little bit of special needs in us. Otherwise we wouldn't be unique. And we all have a little child in us that has needs that need to be met. Putting all those needs on one man, it just doesn't feel good for you, for him. And so having a community is the most important thing when you're stepping into more love. Because stuff's going to come up. You're digging up in the garden. And so when you're digging up in the garden and you unearth certain things, you need to know, like, oh, where am I going to bring this wound? Where am I going to bring this wound? And having certain friends and this Awkward Enchanted Coven is the place to show up where you're like, okay, I took a risk. I don't know what happened, but I did it and I'm here. If you do this in isolation, it might end up being worse, because the ego part of you that's like, you see, you shouldn't have done this. You don't deserve love. At least that's what my ego voice sounds like. She's really mean and she's a bully. So we're going to close this out. We're almost at an hour, and I know all of our attention spans are so powerful in a lot of ways and not in other ways. So I'm going to put on this song, and I'm going to invite you. You can stand or you can sit, but I'm going to invite you to take in this music and let it move your body. And so when I say that, bringing your shoulders up, taking a breath, exhaling, and letting your body release. So if you start to feel embarrassed, if you're dancing like right now, let it go. And start to imagine contracting, close, and then opening. Closing your body, and then opening. Closing closing one shoulder and then opening. Close and open. Ebb and flow. Breath in and out. Opening your chest, opening your heart space, and then close. And so training your body right now to remember there's always ebb and flow. Opening, closing. Raising up the energy, the vibration, and then spreading it out. Raising your arms up, bringing up energy from the earth, and then out all around you. And then circling your midsection, digesting all this information, going around 3 times. These actions, these physical actions matter. Going back the other way 3 times. And then putting a smile on your face. And I want you to end in asking this question. What is it like to be you right now? And so in your journal, you can write the sentence, what it's like to be me is, or you can write the question, what is it like to be me right now? And relax your shoulders. And I invite you to enjoy this program. Allow your body, your mind, your spirit to dive deep in. The more you share, the more you'll get out of this. So showing up as a leader in your vulnerability is already going to bring more love to you. I'm Enchantress Shane, signing off for this very special pre-challenge video. I hope you enjoy it and get a lot out of it. I will see you tomorrow live in the Awkward Enchanted Coven. Bye.